Hellboy: The Crooked Man, coming out November 14th, 2024, directed by Brian Taylor. I'm gonna be honest. I was not expecting to turn this trailer on and be like, "Whoa, this is scary."
I'm not gonna lie. I'm super excited for this. And this is the one comic book movie that I'm looking at this trailer going, like, is this a horror movie? Is this more horror movie than comic movie? Because that's what it feels like.
That's exactly what Mike Mignola wanted you to think when you watch this trailer. It's like Hellboy it's got like a serious tone to it, like the dark tones, but it always had that goofy element, that supernatural, like I'm a superhero, I'm cool, I'm like goofy. Where this one, he wanted it to feel that like psychological horror, like scariness to it. And as I was watching this trailer, I was like, I don't think my wife's gonna go see this one with me because it looks this scary. But I'm excited for this one.
You know how much I love scary movies. So like
Yeah,
when I was watching this, I was like, "Oh my god, I cannot believe they went in this direction," and I'm so excited that they did.
yeah,
Guys, it literally, if you guys are just listening, I implore you, jump on YouTube, take a look at the trailer. It legitimately, if you replaced Hellboy with just a normal looking dude, this legitimately looks like a horror movie and like one of the scariest horror movies ever.
yeah. It definitely has those elements to it. But the cool thing is it feels like this story of Hellboy. Like the tones, if you're just watching, like the tones of the trailer are very like true to what the this story feels like, what it looks like, and overall it's just creepy. Like the snakes like ripping this person to shreds, and oh my gosh, it feels like a horror movie as it should, and I don't know, it feels like a good Hellboy story.
I mean, they absolutely nailed the look. And if you guys, again, if you guys are just listening, this is obviously called Hellboy and the Crooked Man, and we're looking at the Crooked Man right now. You do get a little bit of a glimpse of him in the trailer. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and
Absolutely terrifying. And the way that he snaps his neck like that reminds me of like the neck snap in like The Conjuring or The Ring.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just like you get goosebumps when you see that.
Right, and I honestly, all the characters like from this trailer that I've watched, I feel like they are played very well, and like I would see them as the characters in reading the comic. And to be honest, I think this one is going to one, it's staying true to the story, and kind of an interview that I watched, they had said that there's tons of different routes they could take with Hellboy, but with this specific story of Hellboy, it's short enough to fit in one movie and to
Yeah.
also but enough detail to really fill out a whole movie in a good way. And I think that's really cool that they're not making an adaptation of the movie like we talked about with Watchmen. Like they're staying true to the story, and that's really neat. And I think it looks cool. I'm not a huge horror fan in general, but the way this one is portrayed, and after reading the Hellboy: The Crooked Man, I'm like, I'm excited for this one. I'm excited to see it come out and be able to experience it in the theaters.
And you actually read the story, right?
I did.
Yeah. Do you have a little insight on who the Crooked Man actually is?
Without giving out too much detail, we don't want to spoil anything. Essentially, so the Crooked Man is actually a man named Jeremiah Whitkins. He was a man that lived in the Appalachia, which is like Virginia nowadays. This story takes place in the 1950s. But Jeremiah Whitkins is way back when, and he's been turned into kind of like a soul collector for the devil. But essentially, Jeremiah Whitkins was a man that stirred up the conflict between the natives and the colonizers. Is that what they are?
Colonists, yeah.
Yeah, colonists. When they came over to America, he stirred up the trouble to cause that feud to kind of, yeah, cause that feud. He also sold to both sides for the American Revolution and the Civil War, and he was hung for his crimes because of all that. And that's when the devil like, hey, I want you to go collect souls, and that's kind of what happened. Is so the crooked man is Jeremiah Whitaker as a demon soul collector for the devil, and really to go into the story a little bit, I'm just going to read the story plot off of IMDb. Again, I don't want to ruin the story or spoil anything if you want to read the comic or see the movie, but the story plot is a parapsychological parapsychologist Bobby Joe Song is tasked with delivering a spider to the Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, and Hellboy seeks Hellboy for help and travels to the Appalachia to take on the Crooked Man. Where this is a little not true to the story, Bobby Joe Song is not in the story, so she's an added character for this story. And I don't think that's a bad thing because everything else seems very true to the story. Like there's instances in the trailer, I'm like, oh, that's from the comics. Like I specifically remember that from the comic book reading it. And I think that's pretty cool. I don't know why she's in it. Probably just to help bring another character into the mix, but I don't know.
That was actually the one question I had. Was I wasn't sure where that character came in from.
I think it's just to add another character, another element to the story. I don't know what the significance is having her. I think she might be kind of, I don't want to say pointless, but I don't think she's important enough to say, oh, this isn't like the comics anymore. I think it's just another character to add depth to it or to change it enough where it's not carbon copy.
My one thought was just like maybe because they're going in this direction of like a scary movie, like do they actually just need like a human protagonist for us to relate to? Because like you see like an actual human being in this situation and it makes you feel much more scary. But if you just see like Hellboy as like the only protagonist in the story, you're like not as scared because he's entrenched in that world anyway. So that stuff isn't really scary to him.
That would make sense. Yeah, I would say that would probably.
I was thinking.
Right, especially because the other like characters. Never mind. That's gonna spoil little things about the story. But I think this is really well done. I think it's staying true to what the comic is, and it's nice to see that like Mike is actually like co-writing it. So like they're using him and his like writing style in the script and in the writing of the movie in general. So I think that's a great sign in terms of like the direction of this movie to capture the tone of Hellboy the Crooked Man, and it just matches the comics in my opinion.
I think it matches the comics amazing. I think it's a great vibe. Like I said, it's probably closer to a horror movie than it is to a comic book movie, which I absolutely love. The reason I wanted you to explain a little bit about the Crooked Man is so he did get hung, and if you look in the trailer, that's why he does that quintessential like neck crack like that, because that's literally that's how he died, was he got hung and his neck snapped. There is just one little bugaboo I have here, and I don't know how to say this in a kind way, but so Hellboy is being played by Jack Kesy.
I'd say Kesy.
Jack Kesy.
Yeah.
Do you like the way that he looks?
I thought he looked pretty similar to how he does in the comics, to be honest.
I think he I don't know. I don't have a nice way to say this. I don't think he has a big enough forehead for this look. Okay, so like you look at like David Harbour and Ron Perlman, right?
Yeah.
Big forehead dudes. They have big foreheads. So like the horns kind of fit.
Yeah.
For him, I feel like they're kind of cramped, and his head is very like circular compared to like the traditional Hellboy.
You're probably I guess.
Do you see it?
Yeah, but it's funny. That might be a little bit nitpicky, though.
It's clearly a 100% nitpicky.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm just saying, like, once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? It's like the horns don't fit. He doesn't have a big enough forehead for the horns to fit, right?
Right. That's funny.
Like Ron Perlman and David Harbour are
they have big foreheads.
Fantastic actors, but big foreheads. You know what I mean? Like they got some room for those to work.
They got a 5 head.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So I mean, I guess it's a good thing for him because like he doesn't get called Five Head all the time, but it's not good for the movie in Dave's opinion. I didn't
That's
really have that nitpicky thing, but that is funny.
I'm so petty. I'm
But
so petty. I'm sorry, guys.
other than the forehead issue for Dave, I think it looks really cool. The whole source material, I didn't really go into this a little bit. The source material. The source material is a miniseries, so it's 3 issues. So if you do want to read it, it's a very quick read. I read it in probably 30 minutes, if that, and it was cool. It was a really good, well done like rendition of Hellboy. It was written for July to September of 2008. And like I said, it takes place in 1950s of the Appalachia in Virginia.
I think it's gonna be absolutely fantastic. If you guys are kind of casual comic book fans, just proceed with caution here because, like we said, I do think this is gonna be more horror movie than comic movie. So just proceed with caution who you take to this movie, or who you go see this movie with, or if you even want to see this movie. Just be ready if you're not really huge fans of horror movies. This one may not be for you, but excitement for me is at an all-time high. I'm not gonna lie.
Me too. And honestly, when I first looked at it, I was like, this is gonna be like a low budget. And then I don't think it's a high budget film, to be honest. I don't think it has to be with the way this like gets captured. I thought it was captured so well that it didn't need all the crazy CGI. It doesn't need the big production behind it. And the fact that it's horror, I think that's what they're latching onto, and it does it really well for me anyways.
I think with the advancements in technology that we're seeing, like low budget CGI is miles away from where it was. You know what I mean? Like it's going. I feel like it is going to be a low budget movie, but I don't think it matters. And I think they invested the money from what we've seen in the trailer. I mean, you've seen the CGI on the snake, and we've seen the CGI with the or the raccoon crawling in her mouth and stuff like that. Like that looks fine. And again, the beauty of a horror movie is that you can make it kind of low budget because it's really about building suspense and like jump scares and shock value and stuff like that. That stuff typically does not take a lot of money. So yeah, I'm super excited for it. I think it's gonna be a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Hellboy fans, let us know. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Just hopefully old Jackie boy maybe
shaves his head a little bit to have bigger forehead.
Just shave his head, a little bigger forehead or something.
I don't think it's going to happen at this point, but let us know in the comments, all you Hellboy fans. Is this one that you're excited about? Is it? Yeah. Just let us know what your thoughts are.
Let us know your thoughts. Let us know if I'm being petty about this forehead situation.